Hello, BookTube, and welcome back. So I'm going to do another video for the BookTube event, Dr. November. And obviously I've got to do the Sean Connery voice, at least a tiny bit in the video. So this is my example of a Sean Connery voice. Alex, you're completely mad. So, Dr. November is a booktube event for the month of November where you can read spy or espionage books. Doesn't matter whether it's non-fiction or fiction, you pick the flavour. I've done two previous books, I think. I have, yeah, two. One of them was The Illegals, about Russian people living in the West and embedded themselves in communities for absolutely years. And I also read The Umbrella Murder, about a Georgy Markov in the late 1970s. He was murdered on Knightsbridge in London by an umbrella. And it's all about this conspiracist and the author getting together, trying to work out the case who killed Georgy Markov. So that was two good books so far for Dr. November. So let's kick it off with the third book, and I've got it in front of me right now because I am absolutely crap at remembering subtitles. So this is The $1 Billion Spy, a true story of Cold War espionage and betrayal. This is by David E. Hoffman. So, was that Hoffman, sorry if I said that. So this is about a Russian Russian engineer who was completely disenchanted with being within the Soviet Union, to the point where reading the book, he did not care whether he lived or died. He just wanted to commit so much espionage and sabotage against the Soviet Union as much as he can. His name was Adolf Tolkachev, and he committed so much espionage, and he did not care. He had a family and a kid, and his wife knew what he was doing. And she didn't like being in the Soviet Union either, but she was more concerned about his safety because he did not care whether he was caught by the KGB or anything like that. You know, brave guy. And this whole book is about how he approached the CIA, and he dropped his initial drop was dropping a message within a car where the CIA agent was just like filling gas, and he dropped the messages in the car. And over the course of, I think he started to do it in 1977, and it goes all the way to the early 1980s, and he was feeding the CIA with so much top secret information about what was going on in the Soviet Union. So we're talking radar, MiGs, the planes, military planes. You talk high level stuff, and he was just giving it all to the CIA. The first part of, I'd say the first three quarters, is pretty much his back and forth with the CIA, and him requesting more and more money, because as you find out, the espionage, the information that he was given to the CIA agents was really helping the America to the tune of billions. That's why it's called the $1 Billion Spy. And he kept on asking, he wants more and more money, and just stick it into a foreign bank account. And then his handlers, the CIA, so it's like, okay, yeah, you need to be careful, or have an exit strategy. And he kept on asking for a suicide pill, to which they eventually gave him. But the first half, maybe the first three quarters, is that story. It can feel repetitive, even though you get some juicy stuff in there, of him asking for stuff, the CIA saying, no, you can't have that stuff, and then him coming back, okay, I want more money. Oh, by the way, I want a suicide pill as well. And then CIA, okay, we can give you a little bit more money, but not millions, but no suicide pill. And it goes like that for a long while. And you don't really get, which I think is a failure. This book is lauded, by the way. People do like it, and I thought it was. I thought out of the three I've read so far, I think this was my least favourite. Not because it's bad. It's just I didn't like the structure. To me, the first half or three quarters, whatever it was quite cold and quite impassioned. You know, you don't really read. You don't really. Yeah, you don't really know until like the final quarter of why he was actually doing it, why he was committing these acts of sabotage and espionage against the Soviet state. You don't learn that until way later. Like, why don't you bring that in the start and develop who he is and why he's doing it, and maybe you have that closer kind of connection to the guy, and have like, oh, I hope he doesn't get caught, you know, and have that closer connection, because a large part of the book, it's a bit cold, it's a bit back and forward between a kind of like a kind of not so close guy, you know, and I wish he should have the author, in my opinion, should have brought that much closer to the start than they did. And I guess that's my only real complaint on this book. I mean, because it's really great research behind this, and you do learn about everything that he was given to this year. Well, maybe not everything, but everything that, you know, is known, because he's interviewed quite a lot of people. David Hoffman, and I believe David Hoffman's done a few other espionage non-fiction. Don't know why I did that for espionage non-fiction. So he does know his stuff. So, you know, he can weave that kind of espionage spy narrative to you. You know, it's good stuff. Apart from that, and then you eventually read about the end of the espionage. I won't tell you what went on. Let's just put there was corruption within the CIA. Basically, there were spies spying on spies, being, you know, paid off from the CIA by the Soviets. So it's all back and forward. You know, you expect all that kind of in the making business. That is spyhood, I guess. So yeah, this is the. It's a story, you know, about a guy who's committing espionage against the Soviet state, which he hates, and he doesn't really care about his life that much. He gets a suicide pill in the end, and he just wants to wreak as much havoc as he possibly can in a short amount of time. That's his idea, and I wish there was more between him and his family as well. I guess you don't really know, do you? But hey ho, that's what I thought. They should have brought that, you know, why he did it way back at the start of the book. So you have that more closer relationship to the man himself, who is like putting his life in danger. Counter that as well, I wish there was a lot more about. You get little bits and pieces weaved into the narrative as well about other acts of espionage, what went on during the Cold War and across the years, what I just spoke about earlier. But I wish there was also a bit more information about the bad guys, you know, in the CIA, and their eventual downfall, and much more broad of why they were selling secrets to the Soviets. But other than that, it's a quite good spy non-fiction novel. I've said it's the weakest of the three I've read so far, but it's really lauded elsewhere. So take that with a pinch of salt. It's just my opinion, folks. And I'll speak to you soon. Bye, BookTube.